basically we follow his game from yesterday, and all this has been done many times, so I won't.
Forfeit.
97, bishop e3, castles, queen d3, queen c7, bishop b5. So I noticed that he played this move, and knight a5, and I was a bit surprised because my preparation for the match was this move, queen b4.
Your match against Kramnik, you mean?
My match against Kramnik. And so yesterday was, Kramnik went queen a4, but I think this move is stronger. I mean, I think black can still play some sort of structure like this, but I mean, so it's very, very far from being lost. But I will keep an extra pawn. It's obviously a double pawn, and I may have to give the bishop as well. But it's something, your white can press. So I thought this was comfortable. And after e5, castles, bishop e6, yeah, this idea is actually quite strong. I had not realized how strong it was because we just looked at it and said, well, it's very pleasant, and we moved on to other problems. But at the board, I started to like it more and more. He went here. Already, I'm not sure if bishop f2, rook d1, but I thought that some lines, when I go bishop g3, he might be able to play queen d8. So I wanted to first get him to put something there. He plays rook d8 because he wants to have f5 at some point, but exactly now bishop f2. And after b6, there is this move d5, and it seems to me that white will be solidly better because of the two bishops against whatever combination. So if you take like this, then these pawns will be weak. If you end up with a knight, then simply two bishops versus two knights is going to be huge. So either way, I thought white is just much better. But there are alternatives. First, there is this move, c6. Now after a6, white can play bishop a6. And whichever piece takes d5, and the same logic, except that once we have cleared either one of these pieces, so for example this, then I'll just go rook b1 and already a pawn is collapsing. So he went a6, but this more or less loses on the spot. Obviously he understood something had gone wrong, but he couldn't find a very playable move. And now after this, it's basically resigns because after bishop f1, the problem for black is after knight c6, I don't play d5. I play bishop d6 first, and then d5. And so he went b6, rook b1, knight b3. I think d5 is winning as well. But I thought with even with exchange down, just two bishops in this pawn structure, there can no real risk. In fact, there's not that much that happened. I decided to give the exchange. I mean, the problem for black is not only that white has this pawn mass, that the bishop is taking the b8 square from the rook, the d6 square from the rook, both these squares from the knight, so he just doesn't have any moves. After something like this, he cannot play knight e5, knight f4, rook d6, nothing. So takes, went here, and I thought the simplest was just to not to open the f file, but to do this. Okay, I can just, for a little amusement, you can see this knight f4. Again, white has many good moves, but I wanted to just put the pawn on d7 and lock the rook up. And then I was just thinking aloud. D7, so check. If king h1, rook c1 actually threatens queen e1 check. So I wanted to play king f1. Rook c2. And then I was trying to think if this was even possible. Takes, check, and I think white is winning anyway. But none of this is necessary, so I was just enjoying myself a little bit. So, I mean, it's not complete nonsense, because if I go queen d4, something like rook c1 is suddenly a bit annoying. So white has to be a little bit precise, but it's not very difficult. So I think he went rook here, queen d4, rook d8. And simply a4 to protect the bishop, and then d6 is coming next, so he resigned.
Okay, thank you. Fishy, yesterday's shock loss of Magnus. At that moment, did you realize he was in bad shape in that game? Or you saw the result when the game was finished?
No, I think more or less everyone noticed at the same moment. Grishuk and me was standing there, and he went knight g5, and I thought, doesn't that allow e3? So I looked around, and Grishuk had the same look, and so we understood that thing, and then pretty much one by one people started coming, looking, and moving on. So I think everyone had the same idea. But
and do you think he's still one of your main competitors for the victory here?
Well, it's a bit early. I mean, it's only 4 rounds, so. I mean, it's a long tournament with a lot still to happen, but obviously I don't know what the result today will be, but he has a little bit of catching up to do, but we know that Magnus can win a lot of games if he gets started. So.
Okay. Any questions from you guys?
What about your own tournament? The first 4 rounds?
Yeah, I'm obviously pretty happy with +2. The many years where I haven't, I think the last time I started so well was 2006. That was 3.5 even.
And then you won the tournament?
Yeah, well, 2006 I won the tournament, but well, +2 is a nice thing for the first 4 rounds. And it's a nice way to get to the rest.
Mr. Anand, we are interested in your opinion about Geary, of course, because we're in Holland. Can you say something about it? What you think of it?
Well, I guess you know that I invited him last year to work a few days before the match, and of course he's very strong. I thought yesterday, more than his strength, I could see that he was very confident playing against Magnus. So he's not someone who was intimidated in the least, and I think so far it shows in his play also that he's very confident, and his understanding is pretty good. And for the rest, well, we'll see.